A man wishes for unlimited wealth. He gets it. Then he starves to death. A woman begs the gods to let her lover live forever. They say yes. She spends eternity watching him slowly decay into a living corpse. Another man spends his whole life chasing the love of his dreams. Eventually, he gets everything he ever wanted. And that's exactly when his life falls apart. Strange, isn't it? For thousands of years, stories from every corner of the world have repeated the exact same warning. Be careful what you wish for, not because wishes don't come true, but because they often do. And when they do, they reveal something terrifying about human nature. Recently, I watched the movie Obsession. Don't worry, this video contains no spoilers. But it reminded me of one of the oldest patterns in literature, mythology, and psychology. Why do so many stories end with the hero getting exactly what they wanted, only to discover it was the worst thing that could have happened? Were our ancestors simply trying to scare us away from ambition, or did they understand something about the human mind that modern science is only beginning to explain? If you collect myths from Greece, India, Persia, Europe, China, you start noticing something strange. Different cultures, different gods, different heroes, yet the same story keeps appearing. Someone desires something with absolute certainty. Power, love, immortality, beauty, knowledge, revenge. They finally receive it, and everything begins to collapse. It's almost as if humanity has been telling the same story for 3,000 years, using different characters. Why? Most people remember the story of King Midas incorrectly. They think the curse was the golden touch. It wasn't. The golden touch was exactly what he asked for. The real curse was his imagination. He imagined gold. He never imagined dinner. He imagined wealth. He never imagined hugging his daughter. His failure wasn't greed. It was believing he could predict the future consequences of getting exactly what he wanted. And honestly, how different are we? If I just had more money, if I could just date that person, if I finally became famous, if everyone admired me, we imagined the reward. We almost never imagined the invoice. Greek mythology gives us another incredible story. The goddess Eos loved a mortal named Tithonus. She begged the gods to make him immortal. They agreed. Perfect ending. Except for one tiny detail. She forgot to ask for eternal youth. Tithonus kept living and aging. His body weakened forever. His mind faded forever. Imagine celebrating your wish only to realize you forgot the most important sentence. Sometimes life doesn't punish us. It simply grants our request. Literally. One of my favorite horror stories isn't scary because of ghosts. It's scary because of logic. In The Monkey's Paw, a magical object grants 3 wishes. Every wish comes true. Every single one. Just not in the way characters expect it. That idea has become so famous, psychologists and writers sometimes refer to it as the monkey's paw effect. The universe doesn't have to hate you. Reality is complicated enough. Every decision changes dozens of other things. Every victory creates new problems. Every door you open quietly closes another one. Here's the fascinating part. Modern psychology says this isn't just mythology. Our brains are genuinely terrible at predicting what will make us happy. Researchers call this effective forecasting. We constantly imagine that one future achievement will permanently transform our lives. The promotion, the dream house, the perfect relationship, the $1 million. But after we achieve them, our happiness slowly returns to normal. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. The dream becomes ordinary. So we invent another dream. The finish line keeps moving. Maybe the myths were an anti-success. Maybe they were describing a bug in human psychology. There's another moment that's far more dangerous. It's when wanting something quietly turns into needing it. There's a huge difference between these two sentences. I'd love to have this. I can't be happy without this. That tiny shift changes everything. Relationships become transactions. Friends become obstacles. Ethics become negotiable. Sleep becomes optional. Your entire identity attaches itself to one outcome. And once that happens, you no longer control your desire controls you. This is why obsession is so dangerous. Not because passion is bad, but because obsession slowly convinces you that one single thing deserves every sacrifice. History is filled with brilliant people who didn't fail because they lacked talent. They failed because they forgot everything except one goal. Some people argue these stories were invented by kings, priests, or governments to stop ordinary people from becoming too ambitious. There is some truth to that. Powerful institutions have often praised humility and warned against excessive desire, but that explanation doesn't go far enough. Because these stories don't only punish ordinary people, they destroy kings, warriors, priests, scholars, conquerors. Even the gods themselves make disastrous wishes. The warning isn't stay in your place. It's much more unsettling. No matter who you are, you probably don't understand your own desires as well as you think. Maybe the greatest danger isn't getting what you want. Maybe it's never asking why you wanted it in the first place. Was it truly your dream, or did you borrow it from someone else? From social media? From your parents? From your friends? From society? Some philosophers believed we spend our lives chasing symbols, not happiness. Money often represents freedom. Fame represents significance. Romance represents belonging. Power represents security. But we confuse the symbol for the thing itself. And that's where tragedy begins. Perhaps that's why the story never disappears. It survived ancient Greece. It survived Shakespeare. It survived novels, fairy tales, and horror stories. And today, it still appears in modern films like Obsession. Different characters, different settings, the same ancient question. What if the thing you're chasing isn't dangerous because you'll never get it? What if it's dangerous because one day you actually will? Maybe the oldest warning in human history isn't telling us to stop dreaming. It's telling us to become wiser about the dreams we choose. Because sometimes, the most dangerous prison isn't failing to get what you want. It's building your entire life around finally getting it. If this idea made you rethink a goal you have been chasing, let me know in the comments. Which myth, book, or movie do you think captures this theme best? I'd love to read your recommendations for a future video.